Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. We have some news about UFC 267. As you guys know, Aljamain Sterling pulled out of the fight. It's about a month away on October 30th. And this may be the first ever time a champion pulls out of a fight. We get a short notice replacement. I know it's a month away, but that's still short notice. And the fight that we get is more intriguing than the original matchup, at least in my opinion. There's very rare occasions that this has ever happened. Maybe you could say Conor versus RDA, and then you got Conor versus Diaz on short notice, but that's really the only example I can think of off the top of my head. We are now getting Petr Yan versus Cory Sandhagen for the interim bantamweight title, and I love this matchup. And I'm going to give you an early prediction towards the end of this video, but I'll tell you this. I think there is a chance that we never get Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling 2. There's a chance that that happens. I don't know, if it's highly likely, but now, Aljamain Sterling is out of this fight. We don't know when he's going to return. And we don't know, Petr Yan might have to fight one, two more times before he ends up fighting Sterling, and who knows, he may lose. So for those of you guys who don't know, in March of this year at UFC 259, Petr Yan faced Aljamain Sterling for the bantamweight title. Yan's the champion, and the fight was super competitive early on, like the first round and a half or so. And then Yan really started to take over the fight. And it looked like it was working its way to a Petr Yan TKO stoppage. And he throws an illegal knee. Aljamain Sterling was grounded. I think, there's no doubt in my mind that the knee landed hard. And there's also no doubt in my mind that it hurt Aljamain Sterling. But what I hated was the referee, Mark Smith. What he did in that fight was a massive disservice to the fighters as well as the fans. Because for no reason, he told the doctor right in front of the fighter, he said, if he can no longer continue, it's a DQ. Basically telling that fighter there who's injured or took the illegal shot, if I quit right now, then I won the fight. And I don't think that decision should have any bearing on what happens, I blame Petr Yan in the aftermath. I think, he should have known the rules. He shouldn't have thrown the technique. But Aljamain Sterling, after he heard that, he put on a show of a lifetime. And ever since that happened now, people have wanted to see this rematch. And everyone's favoring Yan in the rematch. Aljamain Sterling had neck surgery, so the fight had to get pushed back all the way till almost November. It was going to happen at UFC 267, obviously. So a ways away, that was in March, so forever away. And now the bantamweight division is just in turmoil because, and I know some people are saying Aljamain Sterling's ducking Petr Yan. I will subscribe to the fact that I don't think Aljamain Sterling wants to fight Petr Yan, but by no means is he ducking him. The UFC has doctors that look over these fighters, and if there was truly nothing wrong with him, they would not let him pull out. Technically he could pull out, but they would strip him of the title and say, look, our medical doctors cleared him, and apparently the doctors wouldn't clear him. So I'm not okay. I think Aljamain Sterling is fighting Petr Yan no matter what. I don't think he's pulling out to avoid him. Now, do I think deep in his mind, he knows, the longer I can push this fight back, the probably better for him because, that is a terrible matchup for him after what we've seen in that first fight. But by no means, you guys can let me know in the comments, but by no means do I think Aljamain Sterling is ducking him. He's going to have to fight him eventually, no matter what. So it really doesn't make any, there's really no purpose to it. And he's going to make championship points or pay-per-view points because he's the champion. So he's going to make more money in a rematch. The rematch has, it's going to be promoted more just because of the weird circumstances of the first fight. So why would he avoid a big paycheck just because maybe he thinks he's going to lose, So I don't believe that. He's injured. His neck's injured. Now, the bantamweight division is in absolute turmoil now because now essentially you're going to have so many number one contenders because you have Yan versus Sandhagen, which I love. That's going to be for the interim title. The winner of that fight is clearly the number one contender. Sterling's the champion. Then you have TJ Dillashaw waiting out there. A lot of people think he's a number one contender after he came back and won a fight over Cory Sandhagen in a close decision. And then you have Rob Font versus Jose Aldo in December this year. So there's another number one contender. So essentially, you have the interim champ, you have TJ Dillashaw, and then you have the winner of Rob Font versus Jose Aldo. You could have three number one contenders lined up, already deserving of a bantamweight title shot. So as far as this, let me get back to the Sandhagen fight a little bit. I love this fight stylistically. Sandhagen is a very unique striker. He's a flashy striker. He has knockout power. His footwork is very fun to watch. I just love the way he flows and the way he strikes. And, I know he's coming off a loss to TJ Dillashaw, but I thought he won that fight, and I really thought it was very clear that he won the fight. So I have no problem with him getting a title shot. No problem at all. But my problem becomes I think the best chance to beat Petr Yan is Cory Sandhagen. And I know some people are going to call me crazy for that, but it's going to be really annoying. And I like Cory Sandhagen, so I'm not even rooting against him. I like Yan as well. But if Cory Sandhagen then beats Yan, we may never get to see that Yan Sterling rematch ever. And Yan does get a little reckless. We've seen Sterling crowd him a little bit in that first fight. And I mean, Sandhagen has power in all his limbs, flying knees. Uh, and imagine if he KOs Petr Yan. That would be absolutely insane. Then we would get Sandhagen versus Aljamain Sterling, which will be a rematch from 2020. And Sterling absolutely wrecked Sandhagen, took him down, and just submitted him in the first round with ease. Now, do I think Sandhagen's improved vastly since then? Yes, I do, specifically because he's called out Aljamain Sterling since then. So I think he's improved significantly. But, it just sucks because I just feel like now, the division is so much chaos. You have Merab Dvalishvili hanging out there in the wings, pretty close to getting close to a title shot at this point. You have 3 number 1 contenders. Now, as far as my early prediction for this fight, I am going to go with Petr Yan. I am just so high on Yan. Yan is one of the few guys that before he even fought anyone legitimate in the bantamweight division, I was high on him, and I thought he could be a championship caliber fighter. And I'm still on the train that I think he can be the greatest bantamweight of all time. There's just very few holes in his game. He's got very sound defensive striking. He has great leg kicks. He has great boxing. He has great, grappling. I mean, what he did to everyone going into the Aljamain Sterling first fight, everyone thought Aljo's got to take him down and grapple him to win the fight. And Yan just dominated him in every aspect. And if Yan can do that to Sterling, who's one of the best grapplers in the division, I think he can probably do it to Sandhagen. It just matters in those early rounds when Sandhagen is fresh, is he able to land one of those unorthodox shots coming from weird angles or maybe a flying knee up the middle? We'll see. We'll see. But it is going to be a fun fight. I cannot wait for this fight. This is a better fight for me personally to watch. I'm more intrigued in Yan versus Sandhagen than I was versus Yan versus Sterling too. It's just the way I feel, and I love this fight. I'm a little bit depressed because I wish Sandhagen had a full camp, but at least he's got a month, and hopefully maybe he was already in shape. But I'm happy to see him get his title shot. I hope, if I can see one silver lining out of this whole thing, I hope TJ Dillashaw has to take another fight in the meantime, because I don't think you should be able to come back after injecting, PEDs into your body, get one controversial win, split decision, and then get a title shot. I just don't think that's right. I think you should have to get one more quality win. So in my opinion, Yan versus Sandhagen winner fights Sterling, obviously, interim champion versus champion. The winner of Jose Aldo versus Rob Font faces TJ Dillashaw in early 2022. And the winner of Jose Aldo or Rob Font versus TJ Dillashaw would then fight the winner of Yan Sandhagen versus Aljamain Sterling. I hope that made sense. So at least the division can play out maybe by the summer next year. But for right now, there's so many great matchups. And in my opinion, the bantamweight division is the best in the UFC. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching.